From Aurora, Illinois, it's the DuPage Angling Network.
You are listening to the DuPage Angling Network podcast, and tonight we have a very exciting show for everyone. Everyone realizes that it's been raining big buckets for a very long time now, and we want to talk about what's happening out there. Some of our cities are underwater. Our little towns are just gasping for air. Some of our members out in the field sent us some photos of what's going on in Naperville, Lisle, and some other places. But we also want to talk about the possibility of, when this water does recede a little bit, that we just might have an opportunity to catch some nice floodwater bass. And I can't wait to talk to Daniel Byrne is on the show tonight with us, of course, and he's going to talk about his experiences fishing the floodwaters and how we can stay safe but also catch some big bass. Dan, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, Marty. I'm just hoping, whoever builds the ark this time, I hope they install some downriggers because we're going to need them.
Yes, I think you're absolutely correct. And, okay, go ahead.
No, first I just wanted to tell all the families that have been affected by this, I am deeply sorry. I hope you get through this. I hope the insurance companies are good for you. I hope the cities back you up. I hope your friends, families, and neighbors help you out. That's kind of a crappy thing that's going on to everybody, and nature can be a bitch sometimes, and I am so sorry for all the bad stuff that's happening. But fish can be caught in high water, Marty. They can be caught in high water. Now this is a bit extreme. What's kind of stinks about this whole thing? One, it's twice as high as our normal high water. All right, so a lot of the areas that you would normally fish in high water, they're underwater, and it's still cold. So that really puts us in a unique situation, But fish can, in general, be caught in high water after rains. As starting with, like before the rain got real bad, I was out on the river, and Waz was out on the river, and what it came down to with the rivers is, all right, the water was up. He hit the Fox, I hit the DuPage. It came down to finding slack waters, eddies, breaks in the water, slow current. So what I did, and like I said, this is just when it started raining. I got lined. I was in the Naperville area, and it wasn't like it is now. And I got lined up with a wall, and there was about 2 feet of slack water, Marty, along this wall.
Yeah.
And I positioned myself right where the fast current met the slow current. I kind of put myself right in the middle so I could use my own eddy to increase my fishing area.
Right.
I managed to catch 2 smallies, no problem, and a pile of panfish in about a couple hours. Waz, on the other hand, he took a craw pappy with a 16th-ounce jig and a 1/0 hook, and he fished, I think, what was it, North Aurora, Marty?
Yes, North Aurora.
And what did he do? He was just like plugging on any little backwaters, eddies, any little thing where he could maintain his presentation, right?
That's right, exactly. And he tore them up. And when you go to the catch of the day, you'll see the most recent one is a really nice smallie from the Fox River.
Right, and they're all nice. And I think he got like 6 of them. And you wouldn't think that's great, that's not a killer day, but considering the conditions, it's absolutely fantastic.
Just to let people know that if you're listening to this live, right now we're playing some of the photos. We're showing some of the photos that our members have sent in regarding the floodwaters. I just wanted to interject that if you go to the podcast live right now, you'll see some of these incredible photos that were sent in today.
Right, and then back to high water. I guess the next thing that I would look for. That I want to walking for looking for today, and I think it's just still a little bit too cold. But usually after high water, you can always count on carp. After the rain, they come out by the pipes, or they line up along the shores with their noses on the shore to get every little nook and cranny that comes out of the grass that they normally can't have, in low water. And Marty, I think you said in the past that you fish most of your carp close to shore. Is that right?
Very close to shore. In fact, if there's any type of a berry bush, mulberry bush, any other bush that you see birds feeding in a lot, the carp hang out there. Even if they don't eat what's falling into the water from the tree or bush, they love to root in that area, I've found. So that's an awesome place to fish for very nice, huge carp in the spring and summer.
Right, and what I do is I use a really long rod. I have a noodle rod I use for steelhead, set up with a float, not very deep at all, 1 to 3 feet. Use your standard carp baits, bread, corn, dough, you name it. I'll look for the mud puffs where they're digging
Yeah.
through the mud, or look for
Yeah.
their backs or their tails sticking out, or just you can kind of tell the way the water moves when a fish is just underneath it. Look for that. I sneak up as quietly as possible because we said in our carp show how smart they are, how they can see you and hear you. Well, I don't know if they can hear you, but they can definitely see you and feel you.
Oh, they feel you. They definitely feel you coming.
Right. So I cast past them. I just bring it in real slow, right, and just wait and try to get it right in their feeding, and it usually works. And then what else would be a work on high water? Crappie fishermen have done well in around pipes and floodwaters for quite some time. So panfish is always an option.
Here's what I love to do, and I've done this time and time again with my K&E bass stopper. Yes, I know it's an easy lure to use. Yes, I know anyone can do it, but I still love it.
That's why it's fantastic.
I love it. I absolutely do. And I have some videos on YouTube of me fishing in Wheaton. I used to live in Wheaton, and there's a park in Wheaton that when it floods, it just goes into the bushes, into the high grass. I mean, it's excellent. So I took my shoes off, and being the Arkansas boy that I am, I was just walking around, sloshing around on the sides, and I would cast my bass stopper no more than 6 inches from shore, down this parallel to the shore, and I would just in and out of the tall grass, bushes, whatever, and they would literally just come out and just nail it when in maybe 3 inches of water, and then they'll go back in. And I love that. I mean, that is so exciting, and I have videos of that, of it actually happening, and so I really get excited with clear water flood fishing. I know that's kind of an oxymoron to most people, but there are still some ponds that they stay relatively clear after a flood.
Especially in the mid-summer months, And one thing you can always look for after a rain, whether it's a small rain or a long rain, is a pipe bite. What is a pipe bite?
I know.
Yeah, standard lakes and ponds in our area, they have drainage pipes, for water to come in and out of the pipes through the sewer system. Right now, by the looks of our of our flood, you can't even see the pipes. But in normal conditions and normal rain conditions, well, these pipes can and are gold. Crappie fishermen have done them for years. At a crappie pond, just after rain, you fish that mud line. On the mud line, what we talk about mud line is the difference in color between the clear water coming out of the pipe and the muddy water on the sides. You fish right on that color difference. And, good thing about crappie guys is that they're in big schools. You can find one good pipe and be there all day. But for bass, what a lot of guys don't do is they'll only fish a pipe, while they're pond fishing, but they don't really concentrate on the pipes. And Marty, I how I got crazy about pipe fishing last year, right?
Oh, yeah.
Right. So what I did was one day, and it was tough. We had a good rain, and I'm like, all right, I caught a real nice fish on a pipe. I'm like, what if I just go around and only hit those pipes? What will happen? So I hit, oh man, I want to say it was like 9 subdivisions, like 19 ponds, and like over 30 pipes. And not every pipe had fish on it. What I did is I used a Texas rig, plastics, to slowly work around the pipe. I do a semicircle around the pipe. Oh, Marty, what's one thing we should tell these guys about the fish in pipes? Don't they go up? They go in the pipes, don't they?
Oh, gosh, yes. The fish, they hang out in the pipes, and I'll tell you, they'll nail anything. A wounded minnow, a crayfish that got lost, and he's just floating down into the pipe. I mean, they're waiting for any tidbit that they can just nail, and they will strike first and ask questions later because they know they can always spit it out if it's no good.
And they'll actually go in those pipes.
Oh, yeah.
So you have to be careful. You can't just walk right up, stand on a pipe, and start fishing. You'll watch. It happened to me a lot when I first started doing this. Sometimes 2, 3, even 4, 3 to 5 pound fish shoot out of that pipe, and they're gone.
Oh, yeah.
So
that's why I get very upset and actually kind of pissed when I take people fishing and they just stomp their way to the pipe, they stomp their way down to the shore, and they're wondering, well, how come they're not hitting right now? Well, that's because Herman Munster just walked down to the pond and, scared them all away because they do hear you coming. They do feel the vibration. They do get scared and they take off.
Right. So this is what you guys want to do. Starts raining. Now, are they always is there always a pipe bait? No. Sometimes it rains too hard. Sometimes it rains too soft. Sometimes you're there too late. Sometimes you're there too early. But usually what I'll do is I'll go check for a pipe bite. If they're not there, and I see carp around, I'll switch to carp, or I'll go do something else, or I'll just go to regular bass fishing. But if I do find a pipe bite, the hard part for you guys is going to be to just hit the pipes. So I'll put on like seven ponds on the docket. I go to a pipe, I fish that pipe, I go to the next pipe, and I leave. Even if it's my favorite pond and it's hot, I leave because you can get more big fish by just hitting the pipes. And you don't use your search baits first. All right, what's a search bait? Spinner baits, crank baits, swim baits. You use your plastics first. So I approach at a distance. I use Texas rig. Marty's a fan of weightless fishing and wacky rigging, thus his name. And
I'm a little crazy.
Yeah, you think? And then I use Texas rigs, so I use tungsten weights now. Dark started talking me into those, but you can use your regular lead bullet weights, worm hook, 3/0, a good standard size for most guys. It fits most plastics. But if you start doing this a lot, you're going to want to have a little bit, 1 to 5/0 hooks. There's plenty of good hooks out there. There's Owner, there's Trocar, but you don't have a lot of money. You just want to get your standard. Gamakatsu makes a great hook for the money. I use worms. I use the Krabby Bass lures, the Kraken. Their bomb. Their what is it? Their zipper, I think it's called. Their worm. I use Berkeley power worms. I use 4-inch power worms, 7-inch power worms. I use any kind of crayfish or creature bait. Like Yamamoto makes a damn good creature bait, but the problem is they're $7 and they're only good for 2 fish.
I found that any soft plastic that hasn't been in your tackle box for over 2 years, because let's face it, they don't catch as many fish if they're not fresh. I believe that. But I think that any soft plastic that can show any type of movement whatsoever during these flooded times is going to score, because like I was saying earlier, they will hit first and spit it out later instead of coming up to investigate. The competition is still huge for these fish. They want to come in and be the one to score, and they want to be the one to catch that bait. So they will hit it and then investigate the taste, the texture, whatever, before they spit it out.
Right, and the reason you're hitting your plastics first is because the pipes is really shallow, so they can feel you coming. Just like we talked about the carp, the bass can feel you coming. So you walk too close, you're going to spook them out. So you want to fish your plastics first. I go, like I said, a half circle from the left of the pipe to the right of the pipe. Then you can go down there. I usually bring some sort of square bill or shallow crankbait or a jerk bait or swim bait or spinner bait. I am a huge fan after rains of Colorado blades. Or Zorro makes one called the Aggravator, I think it's called. Agitator, Aggravator, short arm. That's a fantastic bait. And what I'll do is once I do the plastics, I stand on the pipe, few casts to the left, few casts, maybe one down the center, off to the next pipe. But you have to keep moving. If you don't keep moving, this plan falls apart.
Right. Absolutely. I remember when I was a big believer in the pipe after Pond Boy got on the site and started talking about his 5-pound bass from the pipe. Everyone thought he was smoking a pipe, but I went right up to Lake Barrington. In fact, it was my birthday. It was rainy. It was almost 40. It was 49 degrees. I used a live target, whatever, and bam. That pipe bite is incredible, and it's true. And I seem to do best when the water's flowing out, but Dan seems to think it doesn't really matter.
It does. It does matter. Outflowing pipes, I do catch more fish, but inflowing pipes, and this especially for carp, inflowing pipes, some of the fish, especially on a really good rain day where the water's really pulling in there, I've seen carp